welcome back to Perfectly Imperfect. I'm Jan.
Mia.
And today we want to talk about something quite serious, but it affects everybody. I know it's affected me in many, many different ways. And it affects most people. And it's a really important subject to talk about. It's addiction. So this day and age, there's so many different addictions out there. There's the normal ones that you hear about, drink and drugs, and prescription painkillers and all these kind of things. But there's also other hidden addictions that people don't really recognise. And I know when we chatted about this, I thought, I've never been addicted to anything. I've never had an addiction. And then I realised, actually, I have had an addiction. I have been addicted to food all my life. Now, in the last 3 or 4 years, I got that under control and I'm at a healthy weight. But I have battled with being overweight all my life. My family, it's generational. All my family do. And I have been obsessed and addicted with food, what I was buying. When I was buying food, eating it, cooking it, hosting, food was my life. Not anymore, but it has been. But
you're a feeder, Jan.
Yeah, I'm a feeder. You know, like my children say that. Everybody says that. You just feed. And when I was at my height of being addicted to food, I never felt full. I could eat 3 portions of a man's portion and still be hungry. But that wasn't because I was hungry. That was an emotional crutch that I used. When I was happy, I ate. When I was sad, I ate. When I was confused, I ate. That was my friend. And actually, when I got that under control, for a while, it was like, I've lost my friend. What do I do now? Mm-hmm. I've lost my best friend. Now I realise how much of a control it had on us. But there's hidden addictions, you know, like this. I've known someone that's been addicted to scratch cards, you know, where they spend £100 a day on scratch cards. But I've also known people that are addicted to the rich man's gambling, which is crypto. Mm-hmm. They think they're going to become rich. Mm-hmm. You know, this is the ordinary gambling, but, you know, they're like putting money into crypto thinking, I'm going to be a millionaire one day. Now, is that any different from scratch cards?
I think the world of addiction, it's mental because, it's such a vast, complex, topic. I think anyone that has any sort of relatable addiction, all of it normally stems from some trauma somewhere. Yeah. Way back when, and you may not have put together the pieces or realized where it comes from. I think society, we're consumerist out of our nut these days. So it's actually quite easy to get addicted out of nothing. For example, a matcha green tea. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So it is, it's the way society is pumped these days for you to buy more, have more, consume more. Yeah. But then, a lot of it does lead back to our past and our childhood, and mine certainly wasn't an easy one. So drugs was the way out for a very long time. Yeah. I think I've always had quite an addictive personality. Having children stopped most of my drug use, I would say. I didn't take any drugs when I, first got pregnant with Jake at 19, and pretty much has stayed pretty healthy the whole time until last year when I was doped up to my eyeballs on lots of prescription medication.
And that's a real addiction.
And it's hard. It's really hard because I went from doing 4 diazepams a day, and knowing that I needed them to survive, and the doctors were quite happy that, because the alternative was me shaking, not being able to drive, not being able to sleep, not being able to eat. But I also knew the double-edged sword of, once I start taking these, it's going to be so hard to come off them. Yeah. And I know what it's like to come off things. So even the thought of that was really hard for me. And then also going on lots of, I was on citralopam as well, but before that I was on sertraline, but sertraline almost made me kill myself. Yeah. So you have to also, you go to the doctors and you turn up, the doctor's quite broken. And I think especially when it comes to mental health, it's not one pill suits all. No. Your brain is made up of so many chemicals, and It's really hard. It's scary. Like, I found that more scarier than smoking some weed, to be honest.
Yeah. And it's a vicious trap to fall into, because I've had family members that have been addicted, and I mean very close family members that have been addicted to a prescription pill that the doctors gave them, and they've been on it for years, like years.
But like anything, it all stops working eventually.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's really hard about prescription medication is it's there, but at some point it's not doing what it started off doing.
Yeah.
I'm not anti-prescription medication.
No.
I certainly know that the citralopam has definitely meant sure that I could get up and go to work, and I could drive, and I could function, and I could take care of my children. But definitely in the last, probably only just 2 months, I'm off it now. But I felt like it's like I knew somehow, some way, I just didn't need it anymore.
Yeah.
But I did find last year, in the middle of the year, when I was on diazepam for a good 6 months, but the doctors never allow, so I don't know how I was allowed it for 6 months. But coming off that was like lock myself in my bedroom for days.
Yeah. It's a real struggle.
It was horrific, and the gate, like my headstrong to like not give in, there's always someone who has diazepam or their back went out or whatever, and like I would literally call like some of my friends and be like, do you have one? Do you want to have one? And I knew right then I'm addicted, trying to come off them, and there's no help to come off them. It's like you have them and then you don't have them, and then the doctor just stops prescribing them. And it's tough. It's not like that. That was one of the toughest thing I had to do. Yeah.
I know one of my parents was addicted to Valium, prescribed by the doctors for years and years and years and years and years. And it was like, but it's from the doctor. I've just had a client a couple of weeks ago. She's like 86 or something. She's addicted to it, and she knows it. And I said, can't you try and come off? Just like, I can't come off now. It's part of us. I've been on them for 20 years, So, yeah.
It is. It's a really hard... I mean, I think again, I think grace goes a long way to yourself. Nobody's story is the same, or nobody's mental health. I mean, I think just talking about mental health to start with is a good thing, because, I mean, nobody used to share what pills they're on. Now it's like, hey, what antidepressants are you on? Hey, what antidepressants are you on? And I have to say, like, in my beginning journeys of taking any of my PTSD medication or the stuff that I had to take, like, no one I knew was taking anything, and I wanted answers.
Oh, they didn't tell you.
They didn't tell me, but they did, and people weren't open about it. But I wanted to know. I'm like, okay, so how does it make you feel? What does it make you do? Like, will it help me? Will it not help me? Are the things I'm feeling fine, or are they not? Or should I have to go back to the doctors? So I think that was the hardest thing about being so broken and in such a vulnerable situation, is that you're so what's the word? Like you're so vulnerable that you'll believe anything or do anything to just feel a bit better.
Yeah. And I don't think there's enough information. People don't talk openly like this about, I was on them, I was addicted to them, and I got off them.
Yeah. And then equally, I also know that they, in parts, saved my life probably. But also I know that if anyone else was out there in the world, that I would want them to know that they, like, other people have experienced the same, because people don't talk about those things. And I find that really scary, because everyone is going to experience something. Yeah. Everybody is not superhuman. Yeah. We all have really low times. We all have things that happen in our life that we just cannot control or foresee that that's going to happen.
And they were for the greater good until they weren't. They weren't. I think years ago people thought addiction was like heroin, alcohol, but now there's so many other
social media.
That's what we all
get on our phones and then stop, and then suddenly you start scrolling and you're like, crap, I've just lost 4 hours of my life.
So I've actually it's quite interesting for me, because I was on all social media platforms, and then at my lowest time I decided to come off social media. And I was off social media. I was off Facebook for 2.5 years, off Instagram for 1.5 years, never went on
How did you feel those times?
Great. Yeah. Free. No one was looking in my life. No one was judging us. I wasn't looking for validation of anybody. And it's funny because I'm back on now, and not totally back on. I've hired a lady who does my social media, but I am back on it, and I do find myself, it takes such a big time, and it's quite strange, because now you can look at it and you think, you put a picture up and your family and friends don't comment, but Ahmed from India hearts every single one, you know, like it's wild.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Like, how far does your content reach?
Yeah, it's absolutely wild. So there's them hidden ones like social media, and now there's dating, like as in the dating apps. Now we're going to talk about that in a separate episode, but like so many men are addicted to, it's like a culture where it's just like, how many dates can they get? They'll date, they'll get the high of getting to know someone, and then they just move on. And it's like an addiction, right? It's like a porn addiction for, you know, like it's like, it should be called, I don't know what it should be called, but it should be called something.
No, I agree. I mean, I'm sure there's a whole addiction level to do with like dating profiles and stuff. But to be honest, it's just like, I mean, I just look at it all a bit like, you know, like Cal. You know, it's like, it's just a swipe exercise to be like, oh, how can I top the last one? How can I top the last one? But I mean, I've been on dating apps. I mean, we've all been on dating apps. And I mean, I think they're probably terrible for society. And I don't know. I don't know how it's going to go.
That's the way to go, right?
For the future.
Can't wait to talk about that one. But do you know what? I think women can see what they are. It's like, oh my God, this is wild.
I think some men do too.
But I think men, like you say, are just addicted to the, I'm going to have a shower, I'm going to have a shave, I'm going to meet a woman. And then it's like, oh, actually, she's human. Next.
It's not an online thing.
You know, so that's definitely addiction.
I'm sure there's a lot of women that do that too, though.
Yeah.
They're like,
I want to be one of them women.
Not get attached. You're on the wrong dating app.
I need to start dating. I need to go on one first.
You need to go on the right dating app.
I need to go on a dating app first. But yeah, so there's that. But back to the serious. I'm going to try and make a name for that. Stay tuned. I'll have one. But yeah, there's food, there's alcohol, there's heavy drugs. You know, like alcohol is a funny one. You know, I don't think anybody wants to go and become an alcoholic. Or a functioning alcoholic.
To become any.
But I think there's so many functional alcoholics now, you know. I was in a long-term relationship with an alcoholic. I didn't know at the time that he was an alcoholic until I was deep into it. And I can tell you that he was one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. And if he was going to stop drinking for anybody, it would have been me, because he absolutely idolised this. But he couldn't. It was a disease. It was an illness. And he couldn't stop. And it killed him. And, you know, like, I look at him now when he's got no one around him. He hasn't got his children around him. He hasn't got his family around him. And the addiction to alcohol has taken his life away. It's eaten his life. And his memory now and his health.
I think you know, the saddest part about it, I mean, it can be any of us.
Yeah.
It can be anyone. Yeah. It's not always where you come from. It's not always, you know, you've had a terrible childhood. It's not any of these things. It could be you. It could be your children. Yeah. It can be anyone.
Because it's acceptable now to have a half a bottle of wine with your dinner every single night, right? And then it's like, well, I've opened the bottle, so why not have, But I think for me, I mean, God, if that relationship didn't put us really off alcohol and always make sure that I knew what I was doing, I was in hospital with a bite, an insect bite, and I was in the bed, and a lady came in and she was talking to the nurse, and the nurse had said, oh, you're back, and, you know, like, when are you going to go into rehab? And she sat and spoke to the nurse and said, you know, I didn't want this life. I started having a drink at the weekend, then it was a bottle of wine a night, and then I was drinking vodka in the morning. I don't talk to my mum. My kids have been taken off us, and I want to get better. And I just thought, you know, people associate alcohol with a good time, but it can absolutely tear your life and your soul apart. Yeah. So, and as I say, you know, like, no alcoholic wants to be an alcoholic.
Everybody wants to fix themselves. Yeah. Everyone's just finding ways to fix. I think that's the way most of that starts. You know, like, you know, you have a bad day, I'll have a glass, or I'll smoke a joint, or I'll do whatever, and it fixes you just for a very brief amount of time. Same with prescription meds or any of these things. All of these things are band-aids until they suddenly not become band-aids, and then you're forever until
I want
you
to
can
become
get off them.
A fitness addict. I want to be.
But there are people that are that way too. You know, where they can't not go to the gym for. So I've also there has been times in my life also where I've been like completely addicted to certain things like the gym. I knew there was a time where I was totally addicted to the gym, and if I didn't go 5 days a week, I was really horrible to myself. The thoughts I would have about myself were absolutely terrible, to the point where I was like, I can't go to the gym this many times. I can't sustain it. Like, it's ridiculous. I have young children. Like, so there are all these things.
And then there's people that are addicted to like plastic surgery. You know, nowadays. So there's new addictions that have came, you know, like crypto and plastic surgery and social media that are on the new wave that our children are going to have to deal with, you know, because
they also might be very different. Like,
I don't think my children will drink or smoke.
I think, because I don't think they need to. They're so addicted to gaming.
Yeah. And gaming, of course.
We can't get them off.
We're not talking about gaming.
They're young addictions compared to us getting, like, drunk in fields with, like, WKD and a bottle of Bucky is definitely different.
Times have changed. There's expensive addictions now.
They're far more expensive.
My son, you know, I would say he's addicted to gaming. You know, he gets the high and the low of gaming, and his mood very much depends on what's been going on in his game. But I just feel like he doesn't go out, he doesn't smoke, he doesn't drink, he's very respectful, he helps around the house. Am I a little bit selfish in just letting him do that? Probably, but he's in a safe, controlled environment. But yeah, the psychological aspect of it.
I mean, no one knows. None of us know. All parents right now do not know the psychological effects it will have. We'll only know that 15 years from now.
I think,
and we won't be the only ones.
You know, I think with addiction, the main message that we're talking about this today is that be kind to yourself. You know, like, everybody's got something, some kind of crutch to help them through a really hard life or a hard world, and making it easier by whatever you find comfort in. And also the message is to talk about it. It's not taboo. It's all right to say, listen, I've been on these pills from the doctors. I've been on them for 6 months now. They helped us out a really sticky spot, but I don't know how to stop them. I don't know how to, you know, like, do you know anybody that's been through this situation? Do you know anybody that's went through something like this? Talking is really important, right?
So important.
Or even going to the doctors and saying, I think I'm addicted to these. How do I come down from this?
Yeah.
You know?
No, I 100% agree.
Yeah.
And even if you're not getting the right support from your doctors, there's so many online forums as well. Like, there are places to get help, seek help.
Like counselling, which we've spoke about.
But I love my therapist. I couldn't live without her.
Yeah. But also groups, community groups, like Nudie 2, Sister Circle.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of these, like, by just doing, this has, like, been my mantra for my whole life. You do one thing, and that one thing will usually lead to another thing. So even if things aren't totally, just trying one new thing will then lead to something else. And I think that's what the most amazing thing about trying anything. So whether it was life drawing, where it was the Sister Circles, where it is, I'm going to walk that mountain, or I'm going to suddenly decide to get a Dalmatian dog and then be a dog person, which I have also done. You know, like, you will meet someone, you will bump into someone, you'll have an experience that is different from your norm. So doing anything, however small that is, I think usually leads you to something else.
Yeah. And
make your bed every morning.
Yeah.
I'm a preacher of, you make your bed.
Yeah. All the small things. But I think, guys, what we're trying to say is be kind to yourself. Be kind to other people. Everybody's going through a battle. Some of them are hidden. Some people talk about it. Some people are don't even admit it to themselves. Be kind to yourself, your neighbour, your friends, your family, and talk. Thanks so much, guys, for listening to us talking. And we'll catch you next time. I'm Jan.
Yeah.
Bye.